Waking up between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. gives you something most people never truly experience anymore: uninterrupted focus. Think about it. No notifications blowing up your phone. No messages demanding your attention. No noise from the outside world pulling you in different directions. It's just silence. And in that silence, you finally get space to think clearly. Most people go through their entire day reacting to texts, reacting to social media, reacting to problems, reacting to other people's priorities. They never get the chance to actually sit down and decide what they want to do with their time. But when you wake up early, especially in that 3 to 5 a.m. window, you flip the script. You stop reacting and you start creating. This is the time where your mind isn't cluttered yet. You're not overwhelmed by stress, deadlines, or distractions. Your brain is fresh, calm, and ready to focus deeply on one thing. And that kind of deep focus is rare. It's powerful. It's where real progress happens. When there are zero distractions, your productivity multiplies. 1 hour in this state can feel like 3 hours during the day. You can think better, plan smarter, and execute faster. Whether it's studying, working on a business idea, reading, or building a skill, this quiet time allows you to go all in without interruption. And here's something important. Distractions aren't just external. They're internal too. When you wake up later, your brain is already filled with noise. Thoughts, worries, comparisons, pressure. But early in the morning, that mental noise is at its lowest. You get a clean slate. That's why people who protect this time start to move differently. They become more intentional, more focused, more in control, because they're not letting the world dictate their attention anymore. The truth is, everyone wants success, but very few are willing to create an environment where success can actually grow. This early window gives you that environment. No chaos, no competition, no interruptions. Just you doing the work that matters most. Keynote no. 2, expand it into 400 words. Don't add ending sentences. Don't add any headings. Waking up between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. forces you into a direct confrontation with discipline. There's no easy way around it. When that alarm goes off, your body doesn't feel ready. Your mind starts negotiating, and every excuse suddenly sounds reasonable. Just 5 more minutes. I'll start tomorrow. I didn't sleep enough. That internal conversation is the real test. Discipline is not built when things are convenient. It's built in those exact moments when you don't feel like doing something, but you do it anyway. Getting out of bed early trains your mind to stop relying on feelings and start relying on decisions. And that shift is powerful because feelings change constantly, but decisions create consistency. Every time you choose to wake up early, you're strengthening a part of your brain that most people ignore. You're proving to yourself that you can take control, even when it's uncomfortable. That kind of mental toughness doesn't just stay in your morning routine. It spreads into every part of your life. You start handling challenges differently, pushing through resistance instead of avoiding it. Most people are controlled by comfort. They move toward what feels good and avoid what feels hard. But growth doesn't live in comfort. It lives in effort, in struggle, in showing up when it would be easier not to. Waking up early is a daily opportunity to practice that mindset. And here's the reality discipline compounds. It's not just about one morning. It's about stacking those small wins over time. One day turns into a week into a month, and suddenly you've built a habit that most people can't stick to. That consistency creates confidence because you start trusting yourself. When you trust yourself, you move differently. You stop doubting your ability to follow through. You stop making empty promises. You know that when you say you're going to do something, you'll actually do it. That's what waking up early really builds. Not just a habit, but a stronger identity. Someone who doesn't wait for motivation, someone who doesn't make excuses, someone who shows up regardless of how they feel. Keynote no. 3, expand it into 400 words. Don't add ending sentences. Don't add any headings. Waking up between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. gives you access to one of the most underrated advantages in life. A fresh, clear, and highly creative mind. When you first wake up, your brain hasn't been overloaded yet. There's no noise from the day, no pressure from responsibilities, no endless stream of information pulling your attention in different directions. It's just clarity. Most people try to do their best thinking in the middle of chaos. They sit down to work after checking their phone, scrolling through social media, replying to messages, and already exhausting their mental energy. By the time they actually focus, their brain is cluttered. That's why their ideas feel forced and their productivity feels slow. But early in the morning, especially in that 3 to 5 a.m. window, your mind is different. It's calm, sharp, and naturally more creative. Ideas come easier. You can connect thoughts faster. You can see solutions more clearly. This is the kind of mental state that's hard to access later in the day. This is why so many high performers use early mornings for thinking, planning, and creating. Not because it looks impressive, but because it works. When your brain is fresh, you can do deep work without fighting distractions or mental fatigue. You can write better, plan smarter, and solve problems more efficiently. There's also something powerful about the silence of that time. No interruptions, no noise, no pressure. That quiet environment allows your thoughts to flow without resistance. You're not reacting to anything. You're not being pulled in different directions. You're fully present with what you're doing. And creativity thrives in that kind of space. It doesn't come from rushing or forcing ideas. It comes from giving your mind room to think. When you wake up early, you're giving yourself that room before the world starts demanding your attention. Most people underestimate how valuable this mental clarity is. They think creativity is random, something that just happens. But in reality, it's strongly connected to your environment and your mental state. When you control both, you unlock a level of thinking that most people never reach. Keynote No. 4, expand it into 400 words. Don't add ending sentences, don't add any headings. Waking up between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. gives you something incredibly simple, but incredibly powerful: more time. And not just more time in a general sense, but high quality, uninterrupted time that most people never take advantage of. While others are still asleep, you're already moving, already working, already building momentum. Most people say they don't have enough time. They blame their schedule, their responsibilities, their situation. But the truth is, a lot of that comes down to how they use the hours they already have. When you wake up early, you're not magically creating time. You're reclaiming it from distractions and low-value activities. Those early hours are different from the rest of the day. They're not filled with meetings, messages, or demands from other people. You're not being pulled into conversations or reacting to notifications. You get to decide exactly how those hours are used. That level of control is rare, and it's valuable. Even 1 extra hour each morning can completely change your output over time. 1 hour of focused work every day adds up fast. It becomes dozens of hours in a month and hundreds of hours in a year. That's enough time to learn a new skill, build a side project, improve your knowledge, or make real progress towards something meaningful. This is where the separation begins. While most people are still in bed, you've already done work that moves your life forward. By the time the day officially starts, you're not starting from zero. You already have momentum, and that momentum carries into everything else you do. There's also a psychological advantage. When you start your day early and productively, you feel ahead. You feel in control. Instead of rushing to catch up, you're operating from a position of strength. That changes how you approach the rest of your day. But this only works if you use that time intentionally. Waking up early just to waste those hours doesn't give you an advantage. The value comes from what you do during that time. When you treat those early hours as an investment, they start to pay off in ways most people never experience. Keynote No. 5, expanded into 400 words. Don't add ending sentences. Don't add any headings. Waking up between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. strengthens something most people struggle with every single day: self-control. It's easy to say you want to change your life, build better habits, or become more productive. But without self-control, those intentions don't turn into action. They stay ideas, not results. The moment your alarm goes off early in the morning, you're faced with a choice: stay comfortable or take control. And that decision might seem small, but it carries weight. Because every time you choose to get up instead of going back to sleep, you're training your mind to follow through, not fall back. Self-control isn't something you're born with or without. It's something you build through repetition. Small decisions made consistently shape how you respond to bigger challenges later. When you win that early morning battle, you're not just starting your day, you're reinforcing a pattern of behavior. Most people give in to impulses without even realizing it. They check their phone immediately. They delay important tasks. They avoid discomfort. These habits slowly weaken their ability to stay focused and committed. But waking up early interrupts that pattern. It forces you to act with intention instead of reacting automatically. Over time, this builds consistency. And consistency is what separates people who make progress from those who stay stuck. It's not about doing something perfectly once. It's about showing up again and again, even when it's inconvenient, even when you don't feel like it. When you develop self-control, you start to notice changes in other areas of your life. You become more disciplined with your time, more focused on your goals, and less distracted by things that don't matter. You begin to delay short-term comfort for long-term results. There's also a level of confidence that comes from this. Not the kind that comes from outside validation, but the kind that comes from knowing you can rely on yourself. When you consistently do what you said you would do, you build trust with yourself, and that trust becomes a foundation for everything else you want to achieve. Keynote no. 6 expanded into 400 words. Don't add ending sentences. Don't add any headings. Waking up between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. isn't just about a single habit. It's about building a routine that shapes your entire life over time. The real power comes from repetition. Doing the same positive action every day, even when it feels small, creates momentum that most people underestimate. A winning routine doesn't happen overnight. It's built step by step, morning by morning. When you wake up early consistently, you start creating structure in your life. You're no longer guessing how your day will go or reacting to whatever comes your way. You're following a system, and that system gives you direction. The early morning becomes your foundation. What you do during that time sets the tone for everything that follows. If you start your day with focus, clarity, and purpose, that energy carries into the rest of your actions. You make better decisions, manage your time more effectively, and stay aligned with your goals. This is where the idea of compounding comes in. Small actions repeated daily don't stay small. They grow. One productive morning doesn't change much, but hundreds of them do. The results stack quietly in the background until one day the difference becomes obvious. Most people look for big, dramatic changes. They want fast results, instant success, something that happens quickly. But real growth doesn't work like that. It's slow, consistent, and often invisible in the beginning. Waking up early is one of those habits that doesn't always feel rewarding right away, but over time it transforms how you operate. It also builds identity. You stop seeing yourself as someone who is trying to be disciplined, and you start becoming someone who naturally follows through. Your routine becomes part of who you are, not something you have to force every day. When your routine is strong, your life becomes more stable. You waste less time deciding what to do, and you spend more time actually doing it. You remove unnecessary chaos and replace it with clarity and action. And over time, that consistency separates you from the majority, not because you're doing something extraordinary once, but because you're doing the right things repeatedly without breaking the chain. Give me best conclusion of this whole. At the end of the day, waking up between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. is not about the time on the clock. It's about the person you become because of it. It's about choosing focus over distraction, discipline over comfort, action over excuses. It's about creating space where your mind is clear, your goals are sharp, and your effort is intentional. Those early hours give you an edge, but only if you respect them. They test your consistency, strengthen your self-control, and give you the opportunity to build a routine that actually moves your life forward. Not in one day, not in 1 week, but through repetition that compounds over time. Most people wait for the perfect moment, the right mood, or the right motivation. But this habit teaches you something different. That progress doesn't come from waiting. It comes from showing up, especially when it's hard. You don't wake up early to impress anyone. You do it to prove to yourself that you're capable of more, that you can lead your own life instead of reacting to it, that you can build something meaningful with the time you've been given. And when you keep doing that, day after day, you stop chasing success. You start becoming it.